Hey, what's up, guys? This was a really great game by you guys. I want to break down the end of the third and the fourth because I want y'all to understand, like, especially in America. I don't think I learned basketball till I got to Europe. In America, we're like Corvettes. We love playing the game on the highway, playing up and down really fast. But then when you play the really good teams or you get into the playoffs, they force you to play in traffic. So now you got to be a Prius. You got to be able to weave in and out of traffic and work, but that's going to take a much higher IQ. You can't just use your talent. So, with that being said, I want to watch the video so we can see where we are and what we have to do. So, look at the clock. It's 2:06. So, right now, this isn't how we want to play basketball and hold the ball, but it's what we have to do right now. Is we kind of got to give it to Court because he has the most reps. And so he's watching the ref's hands and he's constantly reading them, if you notice. So once he sees him spread his arms, you see him look at him, then he's like, okay, I got a new count. I got a new count. So he's able to just cook the clock the whole time. So we'll fast forward because he does this for a while. And then now he finally drives. Blaze has a gap because of court and he gets to the hole and he gets a layup. And that hurts right there. Like for their team, for us to score after cooking so much time off the clock, now, what's going to happen is our defense. And I want y'all to understand that we want you guys to eventually get to the point where we could win a lot more games playing man to man. Because those of y'all that's a great trap, by the way. Who is that? Caleb and Blaze, keeping them locked in. Um, we when y'all get like recruited, if college, I have to train as if everybody wants to go to college. Then everybody on the team can fit in that vision. If you guys are just like, oh, basketball's just fun with me, that's fine, but I have to coach whatever the highest vision for a player is, so that way everybody fits in. If I coach it so, or I train you so this player can just have fun, then what do I do with the guys who have bigger visions than having fun? All right, so we want to eventually go man to man, but I don't think we're a team yet that has enough information where we could do that. So Court keeps backing up in guard number three, the best player. So just so y'all know, this is some we've discussed in the past a ton. We leave the better player open, so it looks like a 2-3. All right, so this is all IQ. If somebody else was at the top, they'd be pressuring that guy, and this guy would be shooting a lot more shots. I want to back one more thing up. So once we get to this point in the game, we have Blaze on the wing. We would likely, if I was at the game, switch Cohen and Blaze because Blaze moves his feet a little better, and he gets a lot more blocks, shots for playing middle. So Cohen, throughout the full game, this guy was constantly setting screens on you, and your game never adjusted to that. So, like right here, he's setting a screen. You got to be getting over or under that screen right now. All right. Another thing is, Caleb, you're the bottom guy. So when this guy drives, you're gonna have to help. And I'm not getting on court because his job is to make sure this guy doesn't get off. So, Cohen, you got to get off that screen. He's been doing it since the first quarter. Caleb, you have to protect the side that this guy is on. So both of y'all kind of let him through. You're still on the opposite block and he scores. You got to remember, you help over and Blaze takes away that the guy you're currently protecting. All right, but again, there's a minute on the clock. Let's fast forward it. Court, as you can see, is looking at the clock. So we got to think like there's a lot of us that work on our game. We work on shooting and all that stuff and dribbling, but these are the nuances that it takes to really win. All right. And ultimately, what we want to do is we want to run an offense where we could throw it out to Cohen here. He holds the ball. Even if we run an offense, I'd like to run open or double. I'd rather not hold the ball at half court. And then if they make a mistake, I score it 35 seconds once they get, scattered. Because here's the thing, this can get us to win right now. My job is to look at y'all's future. Court can't do this when he's playing varsity. It doesn't work. So we got to get to the point where everybody can hold the ball and be smart with it and play hip to hip. And then more importantly, like when Blaze, Cohen, when you guys are playing 14U, you guys got to help them the same exact way Court is able to help you guys because y'all can just wait and there's no virtue in like, oh yeah, I waited for Court to make a play and then I hit a shot. We got to get to the point where everybody can make this play, and then that's what's going to make your team special. All right, so basically, and here's something else I want y'all to see. Do you see Court pointing Cohen opposite? We got to get to the point where somebody's in the wrong spot. You're comfortable enough to say, hey, you go away, further away, don't come to the ball, and then we're still going to execute. So he's talking while all this stuff is happening. And then there's going to be a down screen right when court drives. I'm going to start here in a second. So now they switch, get to the hole, we throw it out, we get a wide open three. And basically, that play basically wins the game because now it's 36-26. It's just too much for a fourth quarter for them to come back from. All right, so here's another trick that happened, and I want y'all to understand guards always should know time and score. And again, I know Court has more reps than everybody, so I don't expect everybody to be here. I just want y'all to know what's happening and why. So right now, Court is looking at the score clock because he knows it started at 7 minutes and he wants to know how much time he can cook before crossing half court. All right, and so he can't look at him because he doesn't know when he started. So one of the things we use is, hey, you count and you got to leave 3 seconds ahead of the shot clock that you saw, and then no ref should be counting faster than 3 seconds. So before it hits the 6:50, he got to cross half court. So he crosses. So now he's cooking clock. I'm gonna fast forward it. All right, and now once we get the clock down, they send a trap, and the coach was really bothered because he kept sending traps and Court kept throwing it to the right guy. This is a great flash by Cohen when basically here we go, we drive. Court throws a hook pass, right? A lot of guys would have to turn their shoulders. And because of that, Cohen gets to step in and shoot a shot. All right. And so remember, and I've said this before, I'm not afraid of the guy that has 12 points. I'm afraid of the guy that gets 12 paint touches. All right, because that's the guy that's gonna be the person who creates all those shots that Cohen just hit for everybody. That's the guy that actually wins. So everybody's gonna be on a journey trying to become that guy when they need to be. All right, and again, I don't want Court getting the big head because basically it's really good that he's practicing stuff that we've repped out a ton of times. But this is just a great video for you all to see things that you may not know happening happen. So Court's looking at the clock is 6:16. All right. So watch when he looks. He looks at the clock. So he's like, okay, I got till 6:06 to cross. Now, Court, I would get the guys to start moving now because if these guys were a little longer and they whatchamacallit could read the rotations a little better, you don't know for sure if they're going to flash on time. So once you cross half court and create those two extra defenders and half court in the sideline, you're in a bad spot. So Cohen flashes on time, which is great, and basically Court is facing the screen. Most people dribble with their left hand. So Court facing the screen can throw it to Nico. He could throw it middle where he's gonna throw it, and he could throw it to Blaze. If he had it the other way, dribbling with his left hand, he'd have to pick it up to turn. So now he has what? 2 seconds to cross half court. He does. Cohen flashes, does a pass out of a trap, and there goes Blaze wide open. Look at Caleb Morris doing a block out from inside. That's awesome to see because we work on that. And now the coach doesn't really like that feeling because that was a great shot, even though they trapped our guy. But again, we don't have the luxury of cooking more clock than we want to because Court's kind of the only guy on the team that's making these reads. So remember, the goal is to get us to a point where we got 2 and 3 guys that can play in this way, and then we could spread that out throughout all the other teams. Because remember, the JV Maroon team is more of the stronger younger players. And what should happen is, as y'all disperse and do this, everybody on this team needs to learn to do it for the other teams as well. All right, so here at court, you got to take glances. You can't turn your back so long looking at the clock that you don't see the guy. Better defender might get a hand on that. But again, I do like you looking at the clock. Now, here's one of the things that was good and why they didn't trap as hard late is because these are good traps and these guys are rotating well. But we did not create a triangle here. That should be Cohen running up. 2, 4. Whoever's in this corner should be running up, and then somebody should flash middle, either Blaze or Caleb. But now he has to make a play and throw it to Blaze. All right. And so let's fast forward to where Court kind of got in trouble and got his 5-second call. So right now he looks because he thought the guy just went. And all this time he counted this as separation. But since your back is to him, you assumed he switched hands, but he didn't. So he's on 3, 4, and then you take off 5. All right. So now you get a 5-second call. So again, this is a situation where, like I said, I know this is high level thinking, but Cohen's looking at him. If you see that he has a 3 or 4 second count, looking at the score clock isn't going to help him. I need you to pop or Kate Court to pick up the ball. If y'all don't know what the 15-second drill is, that's something that we should drill a lot of times, and it makes it easier for us to like stall the clock as we still execute and run offense. It's you once you grab the ball and catch it, you don't dribble. You get 5 seconds. At 3.5, you start dribbling. Then the ref will switch hands. Once you're dribbling, once it gets to 3.5 seconds, then you pick the ball up again, and then he has to count to another 3.5 seconds for you to pass the ball if you can't separate at any point. That's the 15-second drill, and every player should be really fluid at it. And because again, you want to become like the asset on the court, not the beneficiary, because then your game is always dependent. Then you're always hoping a coach runs good plays or your players are unselfish and things like that. So again, we're just talking about where we're trying to get our games to go and the little things that y'all can see in real time that's happening. All right, there's 4:27 left. Um, I need to know. We tried to get it in the court, all right, but then we call the timeout. I want somebody to tell me who called a rip two on the next play because that's a varsity play and somebody called it. So I see Court on the bench and I see Nate uh, Raynard right there. So I wonder who called it. I want to, at the end of this video, somebody let me know who called that. Oh, rip two is a lot like split. Y'all come out the timeout. 4:26 left on the clock. We run it. We go. Now we got Blaze cutting. His man had to cut Blaze, so we throw it to Cohen, and we get a wide open shot. So again, whoever called Rip 2, let me know who that was. I want to know who's thinking beyond just the game. All right, so this was really good by Blaze because the first game of the season, I kept getting on Blaze about how he's not getting steals when we have court on a guy. Watch his Blaze's feet. His chest is facing the ball, and he's reading the guy's shoulders. He runs up, he runs back, he runs up. That is perfect. Now, keep in mind, at this point in the game, Blaze and Cohen would switch because y'all don't need more steals for layups at this point. Y'all need stops. Y'all need to make sure the middle doesn't get beat, and y'all need rebounds. So just kind of think of that depending on the situation of the game. So then this guy gets a drive. All right, and this is a good push. Caleb throws it ahead. Court doesn't even dribble and throws it ahead, and then Blaze gets to finish at the rim. Great play. All right, another thing I want y'all to get stronger at is taking that glance. This is a weird defense where in 1-3-1 you do have to look behind you. Caleb doesn't talk a ton, so you don't know if you don't have corner. So Caleb started talking more. Nico, take a glance. If you notice, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. All of them are on that side. There's nothing to protect over here, Nico. You should be pressuring this guy. Second thing is again, Cohen, at this point in the game, you got to know they're setting high screens. You got to be glancing to look for them coming. All right, so here comes that screen. Remember, Court's doing his job to make sure three doesn't get it easy. And then we get hung on the screen. Now he's living in the paint and they get a good shot. So, Nico, take better glances because you should have been up there pressuring that ball while that guy was dancing because there was nothing to protect. All right, so even though y'all played a good game, this was not something I was ecstatic about. In the fourth quarter, this team scores what 18 points. That's basically what they have for the first 3 quarters, and we just got to learn to finish games. So this is great to see. We run the free throw play. Cohen runs in front. Caleb runs around. That's a great play. That's one of the reasons Blaze is able to get another shot at the ball. Blaze, if they're all down there, we don't need to score on this. You can run open, run another play because if we waste 25 more seconds, that's 25 seconds they can't get back. All right, but nonetheless, I mean, you thought you had to drive to the hole. We don't. It gets blocked. Hey guys, we're up by 12 with 3.5 minutes left. We got to be in a dead sprint. Cohen, you're in a bad spot because you're in the deep corner. Court, you just got to stop ball. You cannot reach for the ball in open court. And now we're here. So now, even after they circle back, Cohen, sprint to your spots. You're still in the back. We are up by 12. We can't let them get any momentum. So since you're late, here they go, getting downhill. And there goes a bucket. Almost an and one. So those are things that we got to do. So now it's a 10-point game. We don't want it to be a dogfight. We want to coast. Because keep in mind, We got players that dual roster to other teams. We don't want to make any games longer than they need to be. We don't want a random injury or fatigue to kick in. If we have a game we can win early and win with 4 minutes left and get some more of the bench guys some playing time, then that means the starters got to take care of business. All right, and just think, you have to be an attacker. Like, when I played, when it came to like, even though I was a high assist guy, I was an attacker. You have to be an attacker to be an assist guy. You have to be an attacker to be a scorer. And at the end of games, you can't really wait. So like when we get off the ball, Nico, you got to be thinking, as soon as I catch this ball, I'm gonna hit this gap, or I'm gonna make a point 0.5 decision over there. All right. So when Court's getting off the ball, there was a lot of deflections. Blaze had some. A couple other guys that don't normally have the ball in their hand just didn't touch it. So I don't want you to think just because you didn't have turnovers or any deflections that meant you did something really well. It means that you got to grow your game so you could be in the mix. So these are kind of the plays that's happening when Court doesn't have the ball. So we're forced to play this style of basketball. I want to remind y'all, this isn't how we want to win games at the end. This is just how we're going to win them right now. But once you guys start to internalize and value these small nuances that I'm talking about, it's going to make y'all impossible to stop. So right now, we're a team that has potential. Potential don't mean nothing to me. It means you have a chance to be good, but that means you're going to have to lock in and do some of these small nuances and get better at the things that you probably didn't think were important. All right. And I really don't like this. We have sideline plays for a reason. And when we don't execute, that's what happens. Just a quick story. Court knows this story because we were playing Round Rock Westwood. They were the only undefeated team in the state of Texas out in Round Rock. We are down by 6 with 4 minutes to go, and we had a muff at the half court line, and they scored, and then they got a steal on the inbounds, and they scored again with an and one. In like 8 seconds, we went from being down by 6 to being down by 11, and that basically ended the game because we lost by 13. So right here, we don't run our sideline out. We have a out of bounds play for stuff like this. We can't be individuals. So on JV, it's fool's goal because Court can jump over these guys and get physical and catch it. But we have plays for this. So now we're running our plays. I'm gonna fast forward it through. Because again, we don't want Court Bob Cousy his way around the court all the time. All right. um, because again, where we want to go, the teams won't allow. Now I love that Court's being patient and reading where guys are coming from. All right. Good left-handed hook pass. That's growth right there. And then let's fast forward. So then we get to the point where Court gets it downhill. Caleb cuts on time. Boom, he gets to score his bucket. All right, that's good. And think of it like this: this is who you want to be. Your job, by the time you guys, are juniors, seniors, or whatever, is to try to make yourself unduplicable. I don't even know if that's a word, but my point is, like, when I was in high school, I was a scorer. I could score quite a bit, but I also was a really good playmaker. So when I went to college, 7 other guys were MVPs of their district. That meant everybody was good. So when I was out there and I was having an off shooting night, coach still had to leave me in the game. I still led the team in minutes played because of that. All right. But after high school, I never led a team in scoring again. So the reason I was able to play Division I basketball is because I valued something that everybody else didn't. Hey, Juwan makes everybody a higher percentage shooter when he's on the court. So even if he's having an off day, we got to leave him in the game. All right. But these other guys who just scored, if they were having an off day, well, hey, there's a guy on the bench who's trained to score. There's another guy on the bench who's trained to score if he's having an off day. So again, you got to have some skills that means, hey, coach, you can't duplicate my defense. You can't duplicate my playmaking or the way I screen or how well I communicate on the court to make sure we're all in order. These are all things that kind of skip over people's head that they don't know is huge. All right, and here's the other thing is we got to make sure we execute what we do. So this is something I'm still getting on Blaze butt about is when we get a trap, we got to hold those traps and foul them with our chest. Like stay on him, stay attached. All right, you think just mirroring is enough? No, you got to get your chest against him so he can quit doing all that pivoting and stuff. So again, they end up with 37, 47, and they every time we score, they score. So luckily, we keep scoring. All right. Again, look at Court looking at the clock so he'll know how much time he has to cross. As a guard, it's your job to always know time and score. All right. Bittersweet right here. I like that. I saw that y'all called Rip 2 again. Court is walking really slowly out of bounds so we could get in position. But the problem is, Court, we're not in position. All right, Caleb's still on the block. Guys are still getting there. Do not step out of bounds until we're set up. It is too important for us to be 5 feet from the rim and not run a play that we know they can't stop. So right now, Cohen's going. He's getting Blaze out of there. Be a little bit more frantic about it, Cohen. So now we run rip two, run it again, boom, set the screen, wide open layup. But guys, keep in mind, like our baseline out of bounds plays and stuff like that is stealing us like 8 points a game. What would the score be if we weren't like executing some of these simple things? All right. So we got to make sure they happen. All right. So we always got to know like what play we're going to run, what position we're going to be in when we do it, all the little things. So watch this video, watch it a couple of times because, and then learn to start asking more questions. I don't think as a group, because individually, a lot of y'all ask, some of y'all ask questions, but not as a group. Like, hey, what do you expect of me? What do you want of me? What do you? I think too many times we internalize what Juwan is thinking, what the program is doing, what we're for, and we don't really understand what's happening and why they're happening. We just think we know. And usually it's just a lack of information. So we got to make sure we're doing a better job communicating with each other and with our coaches to make sure we know why these things are happening. And like I said, this was through all the critiques on here, this was the best game I have seen you guys play. So I was really, really proud to watch this. So now it's time to take it to the next level because this game was a standard. Great job, guys. See y'all soon.